Hey, thanks for joining Realtor on the Roof Land Talk. Today we are talking about mineral rights. Hey there, I'm Stephen J.B. Davis, as you may know, and if you don't know, I am a land specialist and residential realtor here in the central Kentucky area. Today we're talking about mineral rights for a multitude of reasons, but the way that I've decided to kind of do this is in two parts. This first video that you're watching right now is going to be all about the bundle of rights that are included when you own a piece of real estate. It doesn't matter if it's a home or if it's raw land or a farm. We're just going to address kind of the theoretical, or rather the legal perspective of what ownership is, so that in the second video, when we talk more specifically about minerals and oil and gas and all that stuff as it pertains to Kentucky proper, that information in the second video makes a lot more sense. I've got a geologist who had worked for the state for many decades lined up to talk with me about those matters. But for this first video, we're just going to talk about the bundle of rights for land ownership to contextualize the video that is to come. So let's get started. All right, so what is a bundle of rights? A bundle of rights is literally a bundle of ideas that describe what you own when you own a piece of real estate. In the United States, the bundle of rights includes a few things. So the first is the right to own it, the right of possession. So that's everything that you see on top of the land, everything below it, minerals, which again, second video, everything above it, such as airspace. There's the right of exclusion, meaning you get to dictate who comes onto your property and who doesn't. You have the right of enjoyment. Enjoy your property the way that you want to use it, with some caveats there, which we'll discuss soon. You have the right of control, so how it's used. And then you have the right of transfer or disposition. So that's like the right to sell it. And of course, if your property is mortgaged, then the bank or whatever lending institution it is, they have the right to recuperate the money that you borrowed first. But you generally have the right to sell your property as you please. And so those are the bundles. So just to recap, you've got transfer or disposition, you have possession, control, enjoyment, and exclusion. And so with those rights, you can divide them, and we're not at mineral rights yet, but you can divide rights. For instance, if you had a home and you rented it out, you still own it, but you're essentially dividing the right of enjoyment and giving that right to your tenant. They are now enjoying the property because they're the one residing on it. They don't own it. They can't do whatever they want, and they can't stay there as long as they want, because if they don't pay rent, they're going. And if it's past their 1 year, term or whatever the term is, then, you have the right to take that enjoyment back. So rights can be divided, and rent is one of the ways that it is often done. There are other ways to divide rights. You can sell rights, you can lease them. We talked about renting. When mineral rights are often discussed, we're talking about sometimes the sale of those rights or even the leasing of them. You can sell or lease the rights of water. You can sell or lease the rights of timber. You can sell or lease the rights of hunting, of airspace. You want to put a cell phone tower in your backyard, you probably generally have the right to do that up under a certain amount of guidelines about zoning and things like that, otherwise known as police power. The government has the right to tax you, and they have some general rights around regulatory uses of property, and that's where things like agriculture zone come from, business zone, etc. But you can divide rights in all kinds of ways. And when we start to talk about mineral rights, depending on where you live, the mineral rights can be all-encompassing, from gas production, oil production, coal mining, breaking up rock in quarries for construction uses, or infrastructure uses such as making gravel roads. There's all sorts of things that go into the general term mineral rights. And depending on where you live, depending on the history of your state or your region, those mineral rights can go back as far as, 1800s, 1700s, where a family decided to keep the right to mine coal or to mine whatever that resource was, but maybe throughout generations and decades and hundreds of years, maybe the house on that property was sold several times, but that family and the heirs of that original ownership, they decided to keep those rights to mining that resource. And that's what people are talking about when they're talking about, do mineral rights convey? Because there are many places in the United States where they don't. A lot of people made their family wealth or their family fortunes at particular points in time by mining resources, to make electricity, to make all sorts of things. And they held on to that right. They divided that right from everything else on the property. I just wanted to get your brain wrapped around the idea of bundles of rights and how they can be divided from each other. And hopefully that'll help you understand for what's coming next. So until then, drop a comment below or something, and I'll see you soon. Hey, so thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts, your questions, tag someone, or leave a comment below.